Hello everyone, my name is Kaseem. Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are going to walk through Tesla's earnings call. I want to start doing this, every time Tesla drops their earnings. If I can't do a live stream, I'm going to get the audio afterwards, listen to the whole thing and make commentary on it and, share it here with you on YouTube. So in today's video, we are going to go over the earnings call. We're gonna start the earnings call like right now. I'm just saying that up. So I hope you enjoy this. As an investor, I think it's important to always like you. I know a lot of people cannot listen to every single company they invest in. They cannot listen to all the earnings call, but at least your top five that you have most money in, you need to know what those companies are up to, so that way, if the stock goes down, it gives you have more conviction to buy when the stock goes down because like what the company is up to. Unlike other investors that don't listen to their earnings call, they don't listen to what their team have to say about the company and everything like that. So that's what I'm trying to do here, trying to show you guys how to not only invest, but how to try to make money in the stock market, how to invest for the long term, and what you should really do as an investor, as someone that invests in stock, some of the things that you're supposed to do. And listening to earnings call is certainly one of them. So let's get the show on the road and listen to
solar is needed to power the United States. Almost nothing of the infrastructure is required to power the United States. And this is true of almost any country in the world. The solar incidence is a gigawatt per square kilometer. This is insane. In fact, if you took the clear area, just the area, for nuclear power plants, the area that is considered not usable because a nuclear power plant is there, in most cases, if you just put solar there, it would generate more power than in the nuclear power plant. This is because they typically have pretty wide clear areas. If you have, say, 25% efficient solar panels, and then those are 80% efficient in how they're laid out, you're going to do about 200 megawatts per square kilometer. Therefore, 5 square kilometers is a gigawatt, which might be a typical sort of power plant. It's really not much area at all, and a lot of places can have wind and solar in the same place. So, anyway, it's entirely possible to power all of Earth with a small percentage of Earth's area, and then to transmit that power through high voltage DC lines. No new technology. No. You don't need room temperature superconductors. This is also another myth. Room temperature superconductors, almost irrelevant in my opinion. Almost irrelevant. Low cost, long distance power lines using copper or aluminum, that's very important. So heating is I squared R. So that's current squared times resistance. So as you increase voltage, you can drop the current dramatically and drop the heating dramatically to the point where it is of minor relevance. Like maybe you lose 5 to 7% with a high voltage DC power line, something like that. So I want to be clear: no physics is necessary, no new materials is necessary. We just need to scale this thing up. We have the technology exists today to solve renewable energy. And sometimes people say, well, why don't we do it? That's because the energy basis of the Earth is gigantic, super mega insanely gigantic. So you can't just go and do a zillion terawatts overnight. You've got to build the production capacity for the cells, for the battery cells, for the solar cells. You've got to put that into vehicles. You've got to put that into stationary storage packs. You've got to put that into solar panels and solar glass roofs, and you've got to deploy all this stuff. But it is certainly the case that we can accelerate this, and we should try to accelerate it. And the right thing to do, I think, from an economic standpoint, and I think almost any economist would agree, is to have a carbon tax, just as we have a tax on cigarettes and alcohol, which we think are more likely to be bad than good, and we tend to tax fruit and vegetables less. The same should be true. We should tax energy that we think is probably bad, and support energy we think is probably good.
Exactly.
Just like cigarettes and alcohol versus fruits and vegetables.
Makes sense.
It's just common sense. But I guess on the plus side, I'm not suggesting anyone be complacent, but sustainable energy, renewable energy will be solved. It is being solved, but it matters how fast we solve it. And if we solve it faster, that's better for the world.
Makes sense. I agree.
Thank you very much.
There's no question in my mind whatsoever that the energy storage problem can be solved with lithium-ion batteries. Zero. I want to be clear. Zero. I think the bias will tend to be towards iron-based lithium-ion cells. When people say lithium-ion, people think lithium must be a big constituent of the cells. It's more like 1 to 2% of the cell is lithium. The main part of the cell is the cathode. The main mass and cost in the cell is the cathode. For high energy cells, like for example, what we use in most Teslas have nickel-based lithium-ion cells, which have higher energy density, longer range than iron-based cells. Okay. However, stationary storage, the energy density is not as important because it's just sitting on the ground, and so I think the vast majority of stationary storage will be iron-based lithium-ion cells with an iron phosphate cathode, technically. But I think the phosphate part is unnecessary. It's really just iron or nickel. Unnecessary in the terminology. Just think of it as iron and nickel. And there's an insane amount of iron in the world. More iron than we could possibly use. And there's also more lithium than we could possibly use. Basically, there is no shortage of anything whatsoever in iron phosphate lithium-ion cells.
Good. So let's just use that.
Thank you very much. Let's go to the next question from institutional investors, which is, you've suggested that between a 5x to 10x improvement is achievable in the automotive production versus the first Model 3 line on the first principles physics analysis. Where does Berlin sit relative to that limit?
Oh, I think we're still quite far away from it. I mean, the thing to bear in mind with production is, for those who've never done production, they just don't understand how insanely hard production is.
Elon has been saying that for a while. He's been saying that for a long time, that it's insanely crazy to ramp up production. It's easy for you to make a prototype, 1 or 2 of something, but for you to make it in such a way that you're constantly producing that thing, producing it, and you're able to sell it to the masses, that is insanely crazy. He's been saying that for a long time. And, I commend him for, keeping on and keep pushing and seeing the company's vision, seeing it go through. I commend him for that.
I want to really be very, very emphatic here. Prototypes are trivial. Mm-hmm. They're child's play. Mm-hmm. Production is hard. It is very hard. Yeah. Now you say production.
Says that a lot. You can watch a lot of his videos on YouTube. He says that a lot.
At large scale, with high reliability and low cost, insanely difficult. But what Tesla achieved on the automotive side was not to create an electric car. The truly profound thing on the car side is that Tesla was the first American car company to achieve volume production of a car in 100 years and not go bankrupt. this is this. I basically, myself and many others at Tesla had to basically have several aneurysms to get this done.
And I probably, like, listen, I've been following Tesla for a long time, since 2013, but like I beat myself every day that I never invested in them as soon as they went public, but because I would have been like probably very, very wealthy right now. But like for as long as I've been, following this guy, and I've been following his companies and his work, listen, he always say that like it's easy to make one of something, but like to constantly produce it, like it's insanely difficult. Like, and I commend them. Like they are trying to do something great for the world. This guy is gonna go down as one of history's most greatest human being. Right up there with Aristotle and all these big people in history.
It was so hard. You have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, and the thing about making a large complex manufactured object is, let's say you have first order approximation 10,000 unique items. If even one of those items is slow, that sets your rate. Just one. Doesn't matter how so trivial. We've had production stop because of carpet in the trunk. We had production stop because of a USB cable. At one point for the Model S, we literally raided every electronics store in the Bay Area. For a few days there, nobody could buy a USB cable in the Bay Area because we went and bought them all to put them in the car. Literally. And
that is crazy, man. Can you imagine being in your own city and you can't even buy USB just because Tesla bought it all so their factory can keep on running? That is crazy.
There's like hundreds of stories like that.
And look, listen, this is what I do. Like, as an investor, someone that invests in a company that he believes in, this is part of investing. You have to listen to calls like this. It happens once every 3 months. You set an hour aside, at least pick your top 5 companies. The top 5 companies, that's 5 hours in 3 months. Most of them earnings call is usually an hour or so. Pick your top 5 companies that you're investing in, and you'll keep up with everything that they're doing. Keep up with everything that they're doing so you're aware of it. In case the stock goes down, when Wall Street don't believe in their vision or whatever, the stock goes down, you jump in and buy a little bit more. And then once they realize that, oh yeah, you know what, this is actually a good company, the stock goes back up, and you become a little bit wealthier than you were 2-3 months ago. So, but let's get back into this. I'm enjoying this call. Really am enjoying this call.
So anyway, that's the solving those constraints and a logistics problem that makes World War II look trivial. I'm not kidding. Like, the scale is insane. We're talking millions of cars, massive global supply chain, 50 countries, dozens of regulatory regimes. It's insane. So, yeah.
Thank you. And the last question from institutional investor is, Master Plan Part 2 talks about an urban transport vehicle that is smaller than traditional bus with greater aerial density achieved by removing the central aisle. Do you have any updates to share on this goal?
Not the same.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's move to analyst Q&A.
Thank you. First question is from Pierre Ferrago with New Street Research. Your line is open.
Hi, guys. Thanks a lot for taking my question. I'd love to get actually an update on what you presented on the battery day.
He's actually, this analyst, I think his name is Pierre or France or something like that. Like, he's actually a very good analyst. Like, he knows how Tesla works.
in the last 6-7 months, I was wondering how much progress you've made on that front. First, in terms of process development, so how are things coming together on your pilot line? Are you getting to the kind of production throughput you were aiming for? And second, actually on your production ramp. So I was wondering in which sites you're ramping production capacity for the 4680 cell, and where you stand on ramping up that capacity as well. And I'll have a quick follow-up on energy as well, if that's possible.
Well, so we have the, and Drew closely add to this, but
so he's basically asking how are you doing on the ramp up of production and your capacity and all these things. So Elon is now going to respond now.
We have a small sort of pilot plant, which is still big by normal standards. And
in particular, he's asking about the 4680 cell. That's basically Tesla's new battery. I don't have the picture here to show you guys, but I'm going to lay on top of this video. Tesla's new battery that they're trying to put out there.
Expect to have like a 10 gigawatt hour per year capability in Fremont, California. And we've made quite a few cells. We're not quite yet at the point where we think the cells are reliable enough to be shipped in cars, but we're getting close to that point. And then we've already ordered most of the equipment for battery production in Berlin, and then much of it for Austin as well.
Good.
So we're really down to like the nitty-gritty elements. But overall, I think we're still quite optimistic about this achieving volume production of the 4680 next year.
Good. Sound like good news to me.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Just one thing I would add is there's been a lot of questions about yield. Actually, I noticed people asking about that, and the yield progress has been really strong every day. When we were really still in commissioning phase with most of the tools, to the point where we're confident that the yield trajectory aligns with our internal cost projections. We did talk about yield also at Battery Day, which is one of the reasons why it's useful to check in on that. It takes a while, as Elon just mentioned, to go from prototype to production, and it's not just parts, it's processes, it's equipment. But as we've matured those pieces of the process equipment, we've gotten to where we need to be on the yield side.
Okay, good. Let's end that right there. So to me, that sounds like a very, very good investment. That what I just got from the call, let's just go over it. So they're basically solving real world AI problems. This is from my notes, a few things that I got jotted down. They're solving real world AI problems. The Model 3 is the best selling car, period. Best selling sedan, period. And the Model Y is going to be the best selling car moving forward. All right. They're working on their Dojo system, and the Dojo system is basically the car has a bunch of cameras around it, and then they build their own computer chip that they build into the car, and the computer chips process all the image and tell the car what to do. So processing those image and labeling those images, they used to have people doing it, human beings doing it, and telling the computer, hey, this is what this is, this is what that is, this is what this is. Now they're training the computer to do that. So the Dojo system is improving. What's the next one? They talked about the solar roof. They talked about Tesla selling Bitcoin. They sold 10% of Bitcoin. They talked about like superconductor. I have to research that more. They talked about the energy business. They talked about FSD. So this call was a very helpful call as a Tesla investor. Again, I personally still feel like the company is still not matured yet to get to a point where you're gonna sell the stock. If you own the stock right now, it's just to be accumulating, because we have factories in Germany, factory in Austin, Texas. They're coming out with Model S, Model Y, Plaid, Cybertruck, semi truck. You know, this company is just starting on their journey. You know, this is a great investment. Anybody that is investing in Tesla, that you don't listen to Tesla's earnings call, you are doing yourself a disjustice or whatever. You should be listening to Tesla's earnings call. Anyways, with that being said, appreciate you for watching the video. I know this is a long video. I appreciate you for watching the video. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing to the channel. You know, I do this pretty much every week. I post on this channel every week. So if you like this content, subscribe. I do my Tesla update every week and a half, which I show you how my Tesla portfolio is doing. And I go with a basic premise of investing $20 every day, which is $100. It's about $400. It's about $400 per month that I invest into Tesla stock on a daily basis. You know, so I don't. It's not a lot of money. I think a lot of people can afford to do $20 a day on a great investment like this. So anyways, all in all, this has been a great earnings call. I've learned a lot more about the company, and I'm going to keep on doing some more research like I do pretty much all the time. And listening to the earnings call like this is part of that research. Keep on doing those research and just trying to gain a little bit more knowledge into what the company is doing. So whenever the stock goes down like crazy, I jump in and buy a little bit more, and just over time grow my wealth as a company grow as well. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Appreciate you for watching. Until next time, see you later. Love you all. Bye.